Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to Southern Latitudes. I'm Robin, and I garden in East Central Florida on a half-acre. It's a suburban setting. As you can see, I have neighbors and fences and all sorts of things. No big livestock. We have chickens, but no roosters here. I'm in 10A. Some of you have asked that question. We have got a lot of new subscribers to the channel. Well, one of my not new subscribers asked me a really great question through the comments of the last video, and I did answer her right away, or him, I don't know, Miguel Llewellyn, if that's you. And you asked a great question, and that wasn't just buttering you up. It really was a great question, because it's a question that I asked many years ago, before YouTube ever became popular. I thought it was just for music videos at that time, and I'm gardening here in Florida, which was completely different than the temperate zones. And so I was new to overwintering, as many of you probably are too, and I thought that's excellent. And it's almost impossible to find a standalone video about this question and answer. So I'm going to address it right here. So here's the question. Do I pull out all of my fall tomatoes to replace them with spring tomatoes? And should I, if they're flowering and producing? Okay, so great question. Here's the answer. I have this same example right here. I'm going to show you two examples. So this set of tomatoes was started, I'm thinking I probably started seed in July or August, late July or August, September, something. I lost some of them during the hurricane, so there's a big gap here. But I am in the same situation. We've got flowers, we've got tomatoes. Absolutely do not pull these, especially if you're in my zone. Of course, all this depends on your freezing and frost potential. My last frost, let's talk it that way, is July 31st, February 1st. That's just 2 weeks away. My 10-day forecast looks pretty good. I don't think I'm getting a freeze or a frost this year. Definitely keep it in that situation. What if you're north of me? Let's say you're in Ocala, Gainesville, and northward of that, and you are getting a frost. I would keep them and cover them, protect them, because this is going to give you a 5-foot jump ahead of starting your spring plants. And you may still have space in your garden and do spring plants. I'm going to do spring plants and seeding this week. But these will start producing months ahead, or a couple months ahead. I don't know exact amount of time, but like if I get them in the ground by February, then we should be having a buku of tomatoes by middle April. So, and I just know that from experience with my microclimate and such. But these are producing right now. Let me show you. There's one of my big, beautiful black brandywines, and right behind it in here is another black brandywine. I have jet stars mixed in. I don't know if those are jet stars or brandywines there, but these should be jet stars down here. We're going to probably have red fruit in a couple weeks or less. I don't know. That one of those down there looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to leave these, and if say a 35 and under, because I take into account wind chill. So say we go to like 35 and under, I'll cover these. I'll throw a real heavy comforter. But it's likely that you're talking about frost in a matter of hours, not days worth, right? So I'm just going to protect the things that are higher in the air. Things that are real low down here probably won't hit frost or freezing, unless it's like that in your zone. Know your zone, okay? So I would throw just a real heavy comforter or really thick Visqueen over this, and it's possible you can still lose the tops, but also very possible, say you get burn up here, tomatoes will just branch out. Well, that's not a good example, but say like in here. You know, you'll just get like a sucker, leave a sucker, and that one might be fine, right? So leave that. Let me show you what I am gonna rip out with my tomatoes though. And it's up front. Let's go up there. Now these tomatoes here have a little bit of brown dead growth on them. Just pull that off. I'm not going to do anything. You might see yellowing. That's okay. Just pull that off. You may see spotting like this. That's probably a little bit of cold. I mean, it could be fungus. It could be a couple things, but it's also just because it is cold in winter and low light, especially shady up here. But it'll come through. See, all the new growth looks fantastic on this. I'm just going to leave it. Ignore this. It could be the beginning of blight. But I think you can cut it away if it's just ugly to you. I just leave mine. I'm kind of a low maintenance kind of gardener, and I have a real relaxed approach to my gardening, just because I'm a busy person and I wear many hats. So I have a very, very full life and a busy family and a busy, you know, being a grandma and all that stuff too. So, you know, I'll just leave this. The plant's gonna die in a couple months anyhow, but as long as the new growth looks good, we leave it. I don't do anything to this. This will also stay well into the spring and hopefully go to May. Now down here, let me show you this. So we're gonna call this is not a, I'm sure not a term in a book, but we're gonna call this the indeterminate end or terminal end, where you would get new growth of your tomato. But as you can see, there's only like one bit of growth on it. There's spots on the stem. It doesn't look very good. It's not putting out any blooms. It does have one tomato. Oh, that looks like it was a Moby tomato, but like in the cherry tomato family, but it did not make it. There's spots all over this branch or stem. And, you know, the terminal end or the growing end, it was probably indeterminate, and the end has completely died. And I could, if I was really desperate, I could say this was an heirloom or something, I'm trying desperately to save it. I would take a cutting here and probably restart the cutting, or you could cut it back here, but this looks terrible too. So I guess my option here would be to take this and try to root it. But which is very possible. I may do that, but it's also easier for me to go ahead and just rip out these 2, maybe 3 potential plants. They have not enjoyed it here. They have not produced very well, and new genetics, new tomatoes, something maybe that can take a little bit more full sun. Well, Campari should, but I don't know. Now I'm kind of confused because that looked like a cherry tomato, but I could definitely put in a few more things right here, amend the soil, and get some nice, fresh, young plants that will be heavy producers in this area, and that way make the most of my little square footage here. I hope I made it clear that those last 3, I would probably just take cuttings of, and that's another way to speed up your growing season. And getting tomatoes much quicker. But you can either put it in like a mason jar of water and get the roots out that way, or you can put it into soil or rooting hormone in soil, and that'll give you a little jump start too. But essentially those plants are going bye-bye, and these over closer right behind me are going to stay, and the ones in the back gardens are going to stay as well. And then other than that, we're going to start off with probably 200 to 300 new tomatoes for the 2025 spring season. My goal is to get some started this week and then get them in the ground. Usually the target date is February 15th for me, but you know, it just depends on where they are in their growth stage. I do have to travel for a handful of days in the middle of this, so if they get watered, hopefully they don't die. And then once they go in the ground, they usually take off so incredibly quickly, and then we're having tomatoes by mid or late April, and we go all the way to the end of May, and you know, and then starts canning season for me. So anyhow, great question, and I'm so glad you asked it, and I think the others will appreciate hearing the same answer. You guys take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!